I'm truly not joking when I say this, but these anime that I'm about to show you will truly be worth the wait in 2026. I'm talking about underdogs that will get really powerful, slow-living isekai, and even characters that prove the world that they were wrong about them. Now, whether you're looking for something new to watch or just get lost in anime, then you are in the right place. And now, let us dive into some isekai and fantasy anime recommendations.
はじめたくさんの家臣に恵まれた。みんなが各分野のエキスパートでとどまることを知らずに成長し続けている。
This boy thinks he's completely average while accidentally becoming one of the most important people in the entire fantasy world. Now, reincarnated as an aristocrat is getting so much attention already because it just combines one of the most addictive fantasy setups with a super satisfying overpowered protagonist. Now, the main character thinks he's weak at combat, but unknowingly, he becomes insanely valuable through crafting, alchemy, and even support abilities that completely change the world around him. And what's driving the hype for this anime is just the contrast between how normal he sees himself and how overpowered everyone else realizes he actually is. Now, these types of fantasy anime have just exploded recently in popularity, especially when the payoff keeps getting bigger every single episode. This anime here is one of the most satisfying setups in fantasy anime, because we have a guy that gets abandoned and looked down on for having a worst class, but only for everyone to realize they made a massive mistake. What makes it really addictive is the main character already understands how the world works like a game. While everyone else just wastes time following normal rules, he completely breaks the system using hitting mechanics, builds, and strategies nobody else even understands. I imagine the payoff for this anime will be absolutely crazy, I tell you, because the people who mocked him, underestimate him, slowly watch him become the unstoppable force. Fans are already so hyped for this because it is the exact kind of progression and revenge energy that made series like Solo Leveling and even Shield Hero explode in popularity, and I wouldn't be surprised if this one right here makes it up there with them.
何やってんだ俺。俺も何か。
Everyone in this world just underestimates the rearguard class until he turned it into one of the strongest roles in the entire dungeon system. This anime is called The World's Strongest Rearguard, and it just takes the classic support class, as we all know, it's as a concept, and it just turns it into something way more addictive than people would actually expect. Now, the main character starts as a rearguard, basically the role really nobody gets excited about in a fantasy parties, but quickly, it actually proves that strategy and buffs and even smart positioning can really completely be used in such an effective way. And honestly, what's driving the hype is the progression system and of course the party building. Because instead of pure brute force, the series will focus heavily on teamwork, good dungeon exploration, and slowly turning a seemingly weak role into one of the strongest in the world. And fans of RPG-styled fantasy anime are already comparing it to some of the biggest bingeable dungeon progression series out there. An ordinary high school girl gets dragged into an ancient empire where politics, war, and even survival become her new reality. This anime already stands out, honestly, because it mixes romance, historical fantasy, and time travel in a way that feels very different from most modern anime releases. And what's driving the hype for me and many others is just the emotional drama and, of course, the historical setting altogether. And now, instead of flashy powers and fantasy systems and all that, and tension from survival, and trying to navigate a dangerous world where one mistake even could change everything. And of course, with the historical fantasy anime becoming more popular again, a lot of fans already see this one as a sleeper hit for 2026. And honestly, I really think you guys should give this one a go.
これが私のもう一つのスキル。モーターハウスのモーちゃんです。
This poor girl got abandoned as a saintess, or more like kicked out, but then she actually started traveling the fantasy world in a magical camping van that she summoned instead. This anime already has big attention because it is one of the most popular fantasy trends right now, and it is comfy traveling anime, slow isekai life, cooking, adventure, and of course, a rejected female protagonist setup that fans really could get used to. Now, the Saintess discovered a hidden skill that lets her summon a camping vehicle and freely travel the world on her own terms. And what's gonna be so addictive to me, and probably others, is just the slow, calm atmosphere. Instead of fighting and all that chaos energy, pretty much the appeal comes from relaxing travel, food, and slowly rebuilding a better life after being thrown away. And these slower fantasy anime have really exploded in popularity recently because they're just incredibly easy to watch and emotionally very comforting. This guy gets reincarnated into a fantasy game as the most useless side character. Then, he decided to become stronger than the actual protagonist.
俺は主人公ではない。だからこそ、俺が強くなればいいんだ。バッドエンドを迎えないようにするために。
Magical Explorer already is getting some, hype around it because it has potential. Since it combines one of the anime's most addictive concepts right now, and that is game knowledge progression with fantasy school action and, of course, overpowered growth. Now, this anime is being actually handled by White Fox Studios, the guys behind ReZero, which immediately got fans paying attention to it. Now, the story will follow a guy that reincarnates into a fantasy dating simulator, except he doesn't become the main character, as we all know. Background mob characters. He is stuck as the side character everyone ignores, so he decides to abuse this knowledge of the game system and secretly become ridiculously powerful. Now, this anime here is already getting quite the attention because it will combine one of the most addictive fantasy trends right now, and that is useless skill that becomes completely broken, with of course a fun overpowered witch for a main character. This anime is called The World's Strongest Witch, and it will officially set to air in fall of 2026. A girl who gets cast out after gaining what looks like a useless ability, only to discover it gives her access to information nobody else in the world can see. And that single advantage completely changes everything as she starts growing stronger and faster than anyone expected. And what's really interesting is just the fantasy progression and the hidden genius energy that she is. Fans already love these kinds of overpowered comeback stories, especially when the main character casually breaks the world system without even trying. This poor guy spent his entire first life being called talentless. Then he reincarnates 400 years later, stronger than ever in the entire world combined. This anime has, quite the huge binge watch potential because it is one of the most addictive fantasy setups right now, and that is reincarnation, magic academies, and an overpowered main character who completely just dominates the entire school era. Now, this show is scheduled for July of 2026, and the hype around it is just the anime comes from the fantasy power scaling and an academy domination energy. Now, fans love these returns stronger than everyone else type of stories, especially when the main character casually uses legendary magic that nobody else can even understand anymore.
今や世界の8割がモンスターのはびこる場所となった。その救済の旅が。
Everyone in this world laughs at the villager class because it's actually one of the weakest classes in this show, until one of them reached level 999 and became stronger than the heroes themselves. Now, a guy that was born with the villager class that everyone looks down on, but after secretly just grinding for years, or more like killing a couple of enemies and just reaching level 999, and becomes stronger than people thought was even possible. And honestly, it's quite exciting for me and others, which is gonna be the payoff. Fans love these weakest class that becomes unstoppable fantasy series, especially when everyone just underestimates the main character and proves everyone wrong about this class. Fans of the fantasy and the game system anime are surely gonna love checking this one out.
俺の名前は鳴神流星。元異世界の魔王だったが現世に転生した。
ゴミ人間、働け。
Hanori-san wants to fight even if she reincarnates, is already getting really big attention because it's actually gonna take the usual reincarnation setup and it's gonna turn it into a pure chaos with fight-obsessed female main character who literally lives for combat. Now, here we have Hanori the hero that reincarnates into another world alongside the demon lord that she defeated, and together they will live a normal-looking life in modern-day Japan. And honestly, this kind of reminds me of The Devil is a Part-Timer. It's got that vibes, and I'm quite excited for it. But instead of trying to live peacefully, she charges directly into battle, looking for stronger enemies and bigger challenges. And what's the hype behind it is just the energy that this anime has. The series has that, loud, fast-paced, battle-addict vibe fans love, mixed with overpowered fantasy action and comedy that can explode online if this adaptation will land properly. And I do hope so. If this video that you're watching helped that empty space by giving you all even more anime to watch, which I hope it did, then do give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments down below which anime you're gonna be watching from this list. And until next time, I will see you all in the next video.